Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees regular meeting. It is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, and it is now 6:30. We will note that time, and may we, Trustee Secretary DiLorenzo, have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman?
Here.
Trustee Cox? Here. Trustee DiLorenzo here. Trustee Fishman?
Here.
Trustee Mulman is not present. Trustee Pasco?
Here.
Trustee Senate?
Here. Thank you. We'll now review the draft minutes from June 16th, 2026, our regular board meeting minutes. And any corrections or additions?
Fishman, I had some comments.
Yes,
I sent
and
them.
we have noted, I'll just say that the minutes have been updated for anyone who reviewed the first draft. They now had been posted, corrected, and if you'd like to say, please bring forward what you had
Sure.
recommended. Thank
Sure.
you.
So my recommended changes were to distinguish between trustees that were abstaining from a motion and those that were absent, as opposed to combining that category. And then secondly, to insert a comment that was made at the last meeting with regard to the motion to approve the budget and a motion in opposition.
Thank you for clarifying. And as I said, those changes were made and posted and corrected on the website. So, we will now, is there a motion to approve the June 16th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes as
I had
presented?
just, I don't
Oh,
know, if it's
I'm
a very
sorry.
small, minor spelling situation in section 6, paragraph B, around halfway to, it was Evanston with the largest should it be population, served?
Good catch.
Just very minor.
All right.
Good catch.
I don't see it right off
It's
this
about-
moment, but
It's about a third down.
Okay. It's noted and minutes will be corrected. Thank you very much. Do we now have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected and as presented? Is there a motion to approve?
I move approval of the June 16th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Cox. Is there a second, please?
I second.
Trustee Senate. May we now have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes?
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Mulman is not present. Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
Trustee Fishman?
Yes, thank you. The minutes of June 16th, 2026 have been approved as corrected and presented. Thank you. We'll now move on to any public comments. Meeting attendees who have signed the visitor public comment registration form at the back of the room and who wish to address the Wilmette Public Library District Board of Trustees may do so now, please. All right, not seeing and hearing none. Thank you. We'll now move on to our treasurer's report. Trustee Biederman, please.
Thank you. I will summarize the June 2026, which is the fiscal year-end bookkeeping report, as prepared by Sandra DiCepolo. On revenue side, we did receive in $222,051 in property taxes, which we had been waiting for, and we finally received them. We also received our second payment and administrative fees for Kenilworth Library, $65,661. The library received some interest payments, $21,266 for the general fund, $21,326 for the special reserve fund interest, and $1,331 for our bank account, at the MaxSafe account. We did one CD was matured in the past month, and it was renewed for a 3-year maturity period. We do believe that we're due approximately $110,000 of additional funds from Cook County, and we're working with the Library Coalition to determine what they are and receive them. The year is all done, so we have 100% of our expenses booked. And they came in at 96% of what we were budgeting. Some of the four largest categories under budget were personnel at $114,003, digital resources at $21,950, equipment, furnishings, computers at $18,609, and books at $13,786. Those are the amounts that we were under budget. Notable exceptions to expenses that are called out by Sandra is that we had special reserve funds at $270,000, which was 108%. This has to do with the number of the projects that we've had over the past year for the vendors of DD Facilities at and Johnson Floor Company, $22,005, Kruger International, $6,002, and $55,006 for Library Furniture International. So these were all for the projects that we did with the special reserve funds. As normally, we review large payments larger than $10,000 in aggregate are Amazon, Midwest Tape, Hill Mechanical, Overdrive, Ingram Library Services, Kruger International Wellness Network. These are all normal expenses that we see that come in on a not every month basis. Payroll was booked at $158,000, two for the first payment and $158,000 for the second. Due to receiving the additional property taxes and reducing our expenses, we came in at a positive $35,003, which is due to a lot of people's hard work and also good timing on receiving our taxes. So we'll take it as we get it, but a lot of people, at least on the expense side, did a lot of work to make sure that we came in at this level. So that's appreciated. What did I put on here? Okay, I guess I repeated this. We are still expecting about $110,000 of taxes. Interest rates have not changed since the last meeting, and the Fed is meeting next week, so, and it's not anticipated that there will be any changes to that. So any CDs that we renew and that mature in the next month or 2 months will probably be reinvested at current rates. I have reviewed the check expenses for the past month. They are in line with what we would expect for this month and on a month-to-month basis. So they look in line to me. That's my report.
Very good. Thank you. And I would like to certainly reiterate what your kudos to staff and Director Austin for coming in with a surplus. So thank you to everyone who worked hard. Any comments or any questions about the check detail?
I have a question. If when we receive that 110,000, where does that get applied?
We are on a cash basis, which means it's going to be in next month. So
Or next year?
next year, yeah,
Next year's
next
budget,
year.
okay.
Yeah, it will be in next year's budget. This type of entity works on a cash basis, so we wouldn't even exactly know what to accrue because we don't exactly know what we're getting or when we're getting it, which is difficult, but it'll be part of next year. So we kind of, if we get it, we'll kind of start out a little bit ahead of the game, but that's not a huge amount to be ahead when you take a look at all the expenses of the organization.
I guess I will interject at this moment as well that we do have a surplus in our general fund, which amounts to approximately 1 year of operating revenue. And while we would be potentially ahead of the curve with tax collections at that point, we do know that Cook County is projecting that tax bills will go out a couple months late here for for the second installment that's coming up this fall. And our local commissioner, Scott Britton, is chairing the committee that is overseeing the distribution of the tax revenue and has been meeting with the Cook County Library Tax Coalition, which has been analyzing the deficiencies and the shortfall in distributions to libraries. To bring that back around, we do have a surplus in our general fund where we would not need to apply for a bridge fund, but they did reopen this. The Cook County Treasurer's Office has offered a tax fund, a tax bridge program with a loan that has zero interest to those entities that would not have a surplus fund so that they could pay their bills in those few months where there wouldn't be revenue. So I'm grateful for past planners that we do have those funds and we will be able to stay whole and pay our bills. But if we were not, this is a resource that is available to tax-funded entities currently. But as I said, we're not going to be taking advantage of this. I will talk about this more we will talk about this more with our long-range financial analyst this fall when we meet with them in preparation of our levy. And we'll see when and if there's ever a time where it might be appropriate to apply for a bridge fund, but at this time, I don't advise it. It isn't necessary.
If there's an ability to pay a bridge fund, why isn't there an ability to just pay the libraries what they're due?
Speak into the microphone,
sorry.
please.
I said, if there's an ability to pay a bridge fund, why isn't there an ability to just pay the libraries what they're due? Or the entities, I guess I should say.
Love the rhetorical
question.
questions.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments about our finances at this time? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the bills and salaries check detail for June 2026 as presented?
I move approval of the bills and salaries check detail for June 2026 as presented.
Thank you. Trustee Pasco. And is there a second, please?
I second.
Thank you. Trustee Biederman. May we now have a roll call?
Yes. Trustee
Trustee-
Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes?
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Molman is not present. Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
Trustee Fishman?
Yes, thank you. Motion for the approval of bills and salaries check detail for June of 2026 as presented has passed. Thank you. We'll now move on to our action item, and this is ordinance number 2027/27218, the annual budget and appropriation ordinance for library purposes for the fiscal year 26-27 in tentative form. And the final ordinance, we will vote as an action item on next month's August 18th, 2026 agenda action item. Director Austin, could you please
Certainly.
give us a little more
I'll also
detail,
note that
please?
I have an error on the agenda. As you were reading it, I caught that. Ordinance should be ordinance number 2026/27. It's fiscal year 26-27. The ordinance itself is correct. Just
thank
the
you.
agenda. But yes, the budget and appropriation ordinance gives the library its legal authority to expend the funds that it receives. And we need to complete this action following the approval of our budget, which we did at our June 16th meeting. And the ordinance itself incorporates the approved budget as well as a buffer in the event that there is a windfall tax collection, which in this event this year, there may very well be, in which case, if we had need to expend those resources, we would then have the legal authority to do so. So the library board, by tradition, within the first quarter of each fiscal year, establishes an ordinance that appropriates its revenues and the amounts of money that it is budgeted. And then, as I said, we have a calculation that we have used, a formula in this cover packet explains the statutory basis for the ordinance, as well as what our methodology has been. As I said, the calculation adds approximately 10% to each of our budgeted categories. It doesn't mean that we will spend that much, but it gives us the authority to do so if the money exists. There are two categories this year where we deviate from that formula, and those are general fund budget lines 1L, grant expense. In the event that we were to receive a grant, that would be larger. We want to be able to have those monies appropriated. And the other line is the budget line 1N, which is friends purchases. And as we've discussed previously, the Friends of the Wilmette Public Library have offered to double their contribution this year in an effort to try to fund some capital projects that we've been working on. So while we didn't budget specifically for that, we can appropriate those funds as they've committed them. And I will just add in close that having made some adjustments to our budgets over the course of the last couple of years and revising the way that we've done our appropriations with relation to the Special Reserve Fund, this appropriation is approximately $2 million less than we've had in our prior years. Are there any questions about the appropriation ordinance? All right, so the next step would be to approve this document. This document will then become the final ordinance, which we will post on our website and on our legal bulletin board. And before our next regular meeting in August, on August 16th, 18th, we will hold a public hearing related to the ordinance before we move to approve it during our regular meeting. And notice is posted in Wilmette Life for the hearing.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay.
Then I will ask for a motion of approval of the ordinance 2026, please note, 27-218, annual budget and appropriation ordinance for library purposes for the fiscal year of 2026-27 in tentative form as presented. Is there a motion to approve?
I move approval of ordinance number 2026-27-218, annual budget and appropriation ordinance for library purposes for the fiscal year 26-27 in tentative form as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Biederman. Is there a second, please?
I second. Senate.
Trustee Senate, thank you. Trustee DiLorenzo, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Mulman, not present. Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
Trustee Fishman?
Yes, motion approved. Thank you. We'll now move on to something that Director Austin, our elevator modernization project engagement agreement. Thank you.
Okay, so during our budget review cycle this past spring, we also were discussing our special reserve fund and capital projects for this coming fiscal year. And this item specifically relates to the special reserve fund, which was a line item in the ordinance that we just reviewed in tentative form. And so we've already indicated that we would appropriate funds for this project. What this project aims to do with elevator modernization is to, while our elevators are up to code and are fully operational, we do note that over the course of the past several years, there have been a number of persistent issues with the two conveyances at the library. There, as noted in the cover sheet, the original elevator was installed 40 years ago, and the secondary elevator, which services the east side of the building and goes to all 4 floors, was installed, that was 50 years ago for the first one and 40 years ago for the second one. Where that decade went, I don't know. But one of those manufacturers has since gone out of business, and those parts are kind of hard to procure. And we've been having a number of issues despite regular service with a few staff members and a volunteer needing to be evacuated from the elevator after the doors refused to open on them. So having had a number of emergency service calls on these and having persistent issues in maintaining them, we want to engender confidence in the public and our staff and our conveyances, and we would like to modernize these. You may recall about 6 years ago, we conducted a comprehensive capital reserve study to inventory and assess every capital asset in the library and to indicate its current condition, its wear, the average lifespan, and what the cost would be to maintain and or update and replace any of those materials. The elevator system was one of those categories that was analyzed, and at that time of the study, The elevator's finishes, pumps, controls, were all deemed to be used up in approximately 17 years past their service life. This year, 2027, was the year that our consultant at that time had indicated that this would be the best time for us to perform this work, having gotten to a number of the other priorities. And recognizing that there are some pending legislative codes that will require remediation of a few other details associated with our elevator pits, we wanted to make sure that we were going to be up to code and that we would satisfy all of those. And recognizing that this project will never be any cheaper than it is today as these costs continue to rise. The budget at the time that we had proposed this project was estimated to be approximately $250,000. So this would be a bid project, and it requires a lot of scope review and assessment. And no one knows our elevator scope as much as our architectural firm that did that study. So we have again engaged with Ingberg Anderson to consult with us on this project, to review the systems, conditions, opportunities, design criteria, and to perform the overall management of this bid project. All of these details are outlined in the engagement agreement that is appended to this cover sheet, along with their concept for what they think the timing is going to be for this project. They estimate that the budget is approximately what we stated, that it will probably come in around $300,000 all told, and that for each of the two conveyances, it will take approximately 1 month to perform the updates on each. So that will pose a little bit of a staging challenge for us in that the two elevators do not reach the same floors. So the third floor, which is the technical services department, where every bit of our new material comes into the building and leaves the building, will potentially be impacted by this and may need to temporarily relocate while we do this operation. And that the mezzanine and a portion of the lower level would be inaccessible for a period of time and require some additional modification to meet ADA in order to get folks to those various floors. All of that said, if we approve this engagement today, we will be able to escalate this project, define the scope, and identify how we would phase this, get it out to bid, and potentially bring forward a recommendation for the contractors who would perform this work so that we could time this to coincide with the lowest trafficked season in the library, which would be the months of January and February, which we believe we can accomplish if we continue to move forward with this. So that is why, following the approval of the budget and with your tentative review of the appropriation for the capital projects in the Special Reserve Fund, we wanted to bring this forward to you right away at our first meeting this fiscal year to see if we could action this project. As I said, we're anticipating that the design work for this project would take place over the course of this summer, that we would be out to bid likely in September, with the goal to make awards of the contract to the successful bidder at the October meeting. And then with procurement and all, we anticipate that the work would commence probably sometime December, January, and would continue and hopefully be completed by the end of March. Are there any questions or comments about this proposal?
Given their history, I assume that Ingborg Anderson, we feel that they're best situated, and cost-wise, we're best situated to go with them, and it doesn't make sense to bid that work out to another party.
So as a consultant, we are at will to determine who we wish to do our business with. We have a long-standing relationship with Ingberg Anderson for their consulting, for their knowledge of our capital projects. They've consulted on the major construction and capital projects that we've done over the course of the last several years. I've worked with them prior to working with them here at Wilmette as well. We have a great relationship with them. They know our building and our systems, and I have every confidence that they're the right outfit to work with for this project.
And are they the same firm that did the bid last time for the very comprehensive plan that we were thinking of?
Yes, they've managed the bidding for the past several major capital projects that we've done.
And my recollection is that they came in at either $1 million or so, and that the actual cost was quite a bit more. Do we have any concerns here that that could happen again, or that that we can keep the cost estimates in line, just given that surprise that we had last time when they
I
came
see.
in with the actual numbers, and we were
All right,
we
so.
were quite shocked.
For the benefit of everyone here, I'll try to explain what you're saying. So, the library endeavored back in fiscal year '24 to do a comprehensive renovation of the first and lower level of the library per the strategic plan. And we worked with our architect, Joe Huberty of Ingberg Anderson, who has since moved on and is no longer associated with this portion of this project. We would be working with architect Sean Kelly, so a different architect on this project, though Sean has been a principal on multiple projects with us in the past as Joe's assistant. So Joe worked with the staff and board to come up with goals for that renovation project and had estimates for what we thought that project was going to cost. When we started working with our construction contractor, Shales McNutt, they had recent projects that they had worked on and had been a party to the bidding process on those. And they're like, well, no, actually a couple of these trades are trending a little bit higher. And so the estimates were coming in higher than what the architect had indicated. The construction firm was a little bit closer to those numbers. And while we did not ultimately agree on a plan or go out to bid, the estimates were deemed a little bit different. The architect's estimates versus the construction estimate, there was a discrepancy there, and that's the million-ish that you were referring to.
Yeah, it was significant.
It was
Right.
significant. It was actually maybe twice as much as what we had thought it was going to be. So, given all of that, and the fact that this is, I think, a more defined project for the trades that are associated, and the fact that Ingberg Anderson has just managed a very similar project at one of our peer libraries, I feel that their estimates are accurate here, and we have every reason to be confident in their work. But that's a great question. Thank you.
I would think that this project's scope is so much less than
It's
the
much
last
smaller.
project, that the number of contractors and subs that they're gonna need to go to is gonna be a lot smaller.
How many vendors are even capable of doing a job like this? There's not that many, right? I mean, you're supposed to get 3 bids, correct, for the work, and then,
We like as many as we can get, because
I
we
mean,
like
at
to
a
be able to
minimum, right?
choose. But ideally, we would like to see 3. There are at least 3 contractors that would be eligible. There are some proprietary parts, and we are doing everything that we can to avoid anything that is proprietary in an effort to be stronger and to leverage our resources more broadly. Our current and past elevator management companies would obviously be eligible to bid and would have some knowledge of our systems as well. But folks who are unfamiliar with our systems could also bid on the project as well. So I think we should see more than 3, I hope. I can't guarantee.
Good question, right. Is this something
because I
that,
seem to remember a conversation that there's sometimes limited elevator
vendors?
people that are
Limited pool.
able to do elevator work for any number of reasons, so. But
That is
you
true.
seem confident that we would have a range of bids, so we could make a educated decision.
Yes. And again, Ingberg Anderson would be able to vet out and make a recommendation to staff and board about who we would want to engage with for the project to make the award.
Which elevator is used most for the youth services? Because I know that's also an incredibly busy one with all the strollers and
They both are.
they both are.
So to be clear about the scope, the elevator cars themselves and the center cylinder pistons for each of the conveyances are not included in this project. So we're not going to get new cars. But there will be all new electrical. There will be all new controls, new rollers, various accessories and parts that make all of the moving parts function. The pumps themselves, as I mentioned, are included in the scope, but the pistons are still fine. That would be a major project because those run the entire length of the building. They are serviceable, but the cars themselves, the doors, that's not going to be changing. So they're not getting any wider. The two-sided elevator, elevator A, remains as it is because it has to service two sides at the first floor and the lower level. But they're both used. They're both used to service the second floor.
Oh, I have no doubt, but I was just curious when you're saying they have to be offline for a while. That seems.
Yes.
But
like a lot to
staggered
manage,
is
yeah.
my
But
impression.
it'll be staggered.
Yeah.
No.
But the third floor is the, I think, you know, the mezzanine obviously is only serviced by elevator A. So that is a concern as one of our primary study spaces, that would not be accessible via elevator for a period of time. The third floor is going to be very impactful to library operations. Now, staff do take the stairs regularly, but we also take carts and carts of books and other resources that go up and down that elevator every day. So we don't have a service elevator. We use the passenger elevator for everything. So it will be impactful to service, and we'll have to kind of plan the phasing and determine, do we need to relocate the technical services department or anything else that might be reliant on the elevator to get those resources to and from the third floor. It may require some adaptation. But we will do so with safety in mind.
Have we thought about a plan for those who rely on the elevators and for those who want to, you know, browse the collections and they rely on the elevator, and like a solution of, you know, a runner to go look for them or some other solution?
When we talk about phasing, when we get through the design phase, that's something a staff team can work on identifying. I think runners is certainly fine. We do that service on a day-to-day basis anyway. In terms of getting people who wish to browse themselves to the various levels of the lower level, that was an aspect of that renovation project that we were aiming to address. You'll note as you exit this room that there is a small stair that goes up to the other level of the lower level. And that is one of the key differences between elevator A and elevator B, that those two both go to the lower level, but there's still a stair that connects us. There is a ramp that gets us back up to that other portion of the lower level, but it is not really engineered for patrons to move through that space. We do from time to time when we have programs, particularly for children on the lower level, where we're requiring strollers to get to and from this space. We will open up that middle boiler room space and we will bring families and strollers through that back of house area. It is not finished. It is not designed to be used by the general public, and they need to be supervised as we go through that process. That will be another consideration when elevator A is down. In the event that we have programs in the space that might need ADA access, would be an aspect we would need to consider. Same with accessing the collections that are on that side of the floor. When elevator A is down, we may need to provide service to those who are unable to get to that space. There are also 3 study rooms that are only serviced by elevator A and are not ADA accessible from elevator B. So there are a number of contingencies and design considerations as we move through the phasing, but I'm confident that we can make this work with the resources that we have available.
And you mentioned that it might only be for a month. So that's inconveniences certain people, but it's not long-term.
Right.
Okay. Good question.
There's no other way around it. You have to find a way and work with a plan B while it's done.
I do have one question that you mentioned. It's not any of some inner parts that the doors, the hardware, so to speak. But is all that old also? I mean, if we're making some changes, would it behoove us to do more at this point, or we're satisfied that we have what we
Yeah,
need?
so we're retaining the services of the contractor, Ingberg Anderson, to go through and take a comprehensive look at this. And we believe that from all of our inspection reports that we are identifying the key assets that need to be updated as part of this project. The other pieces are not worn. So I do think that this is the most prudent
Okay,
approach.
good.
But I do take that into consideration as well.
You hate to go back 5 years from now and say, why didn't we do something a little different? But what we have, and we rely on our contractors. Good, with the recommendations. All right, any other questions for Director Austin? All right, is there a motion to approve the elevator modernization project engagement agreement with Engberg Anderson Architects as presented?
I move approval of the elevator modernization project engagement agreement with Engborg Anderson Architects as presented.
I
Thank you.
second.
Trustee DiLorenzo, and is there a second, please?
I second.
And second by Trustee Biederman. Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Molman, not present. Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
Trustee Fishman?
Yes. The motion to approve the elevator modernization project engagement agreement with Engberg Anderson Architects as presented has passed. Thank you. We will now move on to our collection revitalization project culminating report. And we're delighted to have Manager Kathleen Blair with us today and will give us an update. Thank you. Please.
Sure.
Good evening. Nope. Good evening. Am I there? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are fortunate to serve a community that loves its library. Every day we hear testimonials of what this building, the staff, the services, and the materials mean to residents, some of whom have been visiting regularly for decades. Even as library services and patron interests have evolved, Wilmette Library has maintained a deep appreciation for its history, as well as unwavering commitments to both wise stewardship and exceptional service standards. I begin here because any time we consider changes and improvements, there are those who become anxious that we will alter the defining character of Wilmette Library, what makes it unique and representative of its legacy. But at the same time, there are those who have visited other organizations and wonder why we don't offer modernizations that reflect a 21st century community asset. As we embarked on our project, we started with the premise that those two views were not antithetical. It was not only possible but desirable to stay true to Wilmette Library's tradition while also moving forward. We embraced the term revitalization. In other words, we weren't looking to erase and start over. We were looking to enhance, to amplify, and to inject new life into existing collections and spaces. We began where we should always begin, the library's mission, vision, and values. The mission, Wilmette Public Library welcomes everyone with collections, resources, and experiences that enrich the lives of individuals and our community. Welcomes with collections that enrich. True, true, and true. But we wondered if there were more we might do to illustrate this commitment through layout and navigation. The vision, inspiring lifelong curiosity, exploration, and discovery. You'll need to pardon a former English teacher for zeroing in on the active verb in that entry, inspiring. And lastly, among our stated values, promote literacy and a lifelong love of reading. Curate vibrant collections and experiences. Continuously evaluate, adapt, and innovate. All the pieces were here. In moving forward with revitalization, we were honoring what had been previously established as guiding lights for services and resources. We then translated that vision into 3 core principles: enhancing access, creating a new energy around investments the library was already making, and turning the view of collections from storehouse to service. This evening I'll focus on 3 areas, and though there are ripples beyond, they are telling illustrations of the challenges, the changes, and the results. Because partner phases have been reported throughout the process, for our purposes we're going to turn not to the how, such as details of carpeting or shelving, but to the big picture view, the why. the what, and the wins already that we've been able to see. As we mentioned just moments ago, in fall 2024, the Library commissioned a space needs assessment from consulting firm Engberg Anderson. In that report, a recommendation regarding the lower level included the observation, and I quote, "This is a vastly underutilized space that is unattractive, fights efforts to present the collection to patrons, and has a creepy feel to many." That characterization may seem a bit extreme, but the point wasn't a complete surprise. As a result, this was the first major phase of the project, a rigorous assessment and right-sizing of adult nonfiction with the goal of consolidating expertly curated collections to the south side of the building. This in turn freed what had been the auxiliary 900s room to be reinvented as the lower level north room, a space dedicated to celebrating physical media. Though these are collections that are increasingly less supported due to digital formats, Wilmette Library is not forsaking them. Instead, they have been rebranded with bold, color-coded signage to enhance navigation and invite discovery. From the very first days of being open, staff have observed higher levels of browsing. And as one example, the new shelving arrangement of the music collection has sparked something of a renaissance of visitor interest in CDs. Relocating the media enabled the creation of what we designed to be the crown jewel of the project, the new book room. Not only is this space one of the brightest, with natural light streaming from windows on 3 sides, but also it is the room into which visitors can peek as they approach from either parking or walk-up. As a matter of fact, during my first building tour with Director Austin 3 years ago, we spoke of the room's underutilized potential, the possibility of resetting the space to engage with readers from that first window glimpse, showing off Wilmette Library's passion for book culture. If this were truly our goal, and it enthusiastically was, we needed to begin with tone setting, creating an environment that tempted visitors to spend time among the books, enjoying window seats and soft chairs as a respite from home or work routine. In service to this aim, shelving is positioned to draw visitors organically from spotlight to spotlight and to display more than half of the books face out to more effectively call out to their next reader. Some libraries brand this as a marketplace, but that business-adjacent nomenclature did not feel a good fit for Wilmette. Instead, we opted to christen it as what it is, a prominent space dedicated to showcasing our wealth of new acquisitions, thus the new book room. Contrast this arrangement to the previous location, one in which books were compressed on limited shelves in artificial light and adjacent to a busy service desk, in which overheard conversations are hardly conducive to leisured discovery. Staff have already noted that visitors spend significantly more time wandering among new books than previously, and it is not uncommon to see nearly every seat in the new book room occupied by a reader deciding among their potential checkouts. Another goal of this collection reset was to correct the widespread misunderstanding that the previous Hot Picks collection was the entirety of the new book section. This was the impetus for rebranding that service as Lucky Day, identifying these items as serendipitous, not core, and strategically placing them deeper into the room than the amplified new collections, which now greet visitors as their first encounter in the space. Though we look forward to analyzing comparative circulation data in coming months, we already have observational insights into how much more the less well-known gems, including those of diverse perspectives, are finding their readers. We are no longer giving all our prime space only to books that are already popular. We are amplifying a greater variety of stories. One testament to early success was on the first weekend in which the new book room was open. Visitors were checking out in bulk to a degree that we had not seen previously, so much so that we temporarily ran out of tote bags to offer our visitors to take their books home. These new spaces are also intended to telegraph the enthusiasm of staff and the specialty insights that we offer into matching readers with their next satisfying read. New wall-mounted theme displays lead into the new book room. A reader resources section is under development. And following the installation of a dedicated catalog station, we will activate a supplementary service point, one focused on promoting collection engagement through enhanced reader services. And this leads to our final recharacterized room, the fireplace area. The biggest challenge of this location is the placement of the service desk, especially given the level of activity. And since any relocation must be relegated to a future project, our determination was to lean into it. Establish this as more of a service space than a collection space. Use the area to create additional room and comfort for semi-private service interactions, such as with the addition of seating for those who would benefit, but also lean into Wilmette-specific high-engagement spotlights, such as a rejuvenated staff picks and an upcoming local authors area. This space was also chosen to spotlight one of our most dynamic and eye-catching collections, the Library of Things. An expanded showcase of puzzles, games, technology, and gadgets available for checkout has been established, and we can testify that the more prominent placement has been effective. Just last week, I overheard a visitor exclaim, "Oh, look, our library has added a Library of Things collection."
Oh.
Now this, my friends, is the work that we've been doing. Our informational sends are quite effective, but nothing competes with putting exciting items in the direct paths of visitors. And selecting which collections might benefit from different placements and spotlights is key to the entire endeavor. I started with the library's mission, vision, and values, and I want to bring us full circle to an expression of those, our most recent strategic plan. Under the category of sustainable future, one of the desired outcomes was identified as to preserve and promote the assets of the district, including to revitalize and reimagine the first floor and lower level of the library, the entry that, of course, served as springboard for this project. Though other planned priorities also touch this project, I'll pluck out only one more, the desired outcome to highlight the wealth of resources offered in our building and collections in more accessible and visually appealing ways. This is precisely what years of planning, strategy, pivoting, and labor have accomplished. Transformation has been effected, reinvention. Also, we have found ways to introduce a level of playfulness not previously realized in adult collection and advisory services, and we have even bigger plans on that front. Though we have finishing touches yet to enact, we are proud of the current result, and we delight in witnessing the joy of discovery that plays out in front of us each day. Thank you.
I'm going to give you a very nicely done. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Whew.
I totally agree in that you all have worked so hard to make this happen over the span of time that you did, and just want to commend you and all your staff on what you've been able to accomplish within a much smaller budget than you probably initially imagined. And it is really exciting, like when you, especially the room down here, it was creepy. If anybody hadn't been down there, it was very dark. The shelves, you know, and I know when we toured there and the shelves were floor to ceiling, it's so much more open now and so much more inviting, and it's really exciting. So just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work and leadership.
Yeah, incredible work and incredibly well written and delivered. So thank you on behalf of the board for all of this work. It is really tremendous, and the passion for your work really comes through.
If I might just, from my own personal use, I will, agree with what has already been said. The bottom part looks really great, the nonfiction section. I am probably in the minority here. I did not think it looked creepy, but it does look a lot better now. The Library of Things has been such a great resource, and I totally understand people saying, oh, we have a Library of Things. A year ago, there were some items I could have gotten out instantly, and now it's a much longer wait. So unfortunate for me, but really great that more residents are using that really great resource. And finally, the staff picks you and your team do. I always like to check to see what's on, and every time I've picked one up, I've never been disappointed. So thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you so much. All right, can you top that?
No.
Director's report, Director Austin?
It's a tough act to follow.
Totally. Thank you.
All right, I will give you a little synopsis of my report that's in the packet, and then I'll entertain any questions that you may have. We had a very busy month in June, almost 23,000 visitors, averaging 758 unique users each day. We welcomed 165 new cardholders in June. That was great. And our circulation statistics for physical material topped 50,000 last month, which was great. It was enough to get us over 600,000, which was our goal for the year. Print circulation was down about 5% last year, and we're not shy about that. It's likely due to a variety of reasons, not least of which was the dissolution of Baker and Taylor, our primary acquisitions partner. So imagine trying to simultaneously plan all of these moving pieces with everything that Kathleen was just describing, but also being stressed about where to get those new books that are going to occupy the shelves in your new book room. And I have to commend our technical services team, which was also operating without a manager for a good part of this time, to come together, identify 2 key new acquisitions partners, get the staff trained on how to use these new resources, and then commence the process of activating all these lists so that we could better curate our collections and present them just in time for the launch of the new book room. And the technical services team, along with our curatorial librarian staff in both the adult and youth services departments, did a phenomenal job in closing out the fiscal year. If you were tracking our spending in the book budget, you will note that we had about 30% of the budget left to spend as of May. So a lot of heavy lifting was being done end of May through the month of June, so that we could activate and get all those new materials out there. So I do believe that while we did see a drop in our physical circulation last year, that was pretty much made up by digital. I do anticipate that we're going to see the numbers rebound in our print circulation this year. We do see more readers of physical materials in the summer. There is a bit of a lull that happens seasonally that we've identified in the month of June, and that trend was true again this past June. However, our June circulation in Overdrive was our highest June ever. So in a year of many peaks with Overdrive, June continued to be a peak. We did mention Library of Things here a few times. We've added dozens of games and equipment to the collection here at the end of this last fiscal year, including activating one of our longstanding goals, which is to circulate umbrellas in the lobby. So if you haven't seen the colorful little umbrella stand that's right by the circulation desk and the self-checkouts, if it's rainy, grab an umbrella on your way out. We added about 2,000 items to the collection at the end of June, as I mentioned. And we also saw a transition in staff in our technical services department. We have a new staff member in acquisitions who's going to be servicing our youth team. Rachel is in training right now, and she's working really great with that team. What else can I share with you? Big month of programming, complete with our well-attended America at 250 programming series and dozens of other programs that are highlighted in the programming report. I suppose I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we are right in the middle of our favorite programming season of the year. Our summer reading clubs are in full swing. How many of you are participating and logging your reading? Look at that. Love the engagement. We give away free books. We reward reading with reading, so if you haven't logged your material, please do, and then turn in your logs at either the Adult Services or Youth Services desks and claim your prize, all generously funded by the Friends of the Library. What else can I share with you? With all these changes that are taking place on the first and lower level, there are a number of signs that are going to need to be updated. Everything that we have done with this project has touched every single department in the library. Communications obviously is one of the key places. Wayfinding signage around the building will need to be updated. It's one of our major initiatives for this coming fiscal year, so stay tuned for more on what's going on with communications. Having been the end of our fiscal year, a lot of things are in transition. So from magazine renewals to databases and contracted services, July is a really busy season for the library. And so we've been updating on a number of our annual agreements, conducting evaluations, audits, renewals, and tabulations. And I have a request of the board. We are in the process of compiling and analyzing our 25-26 statistics, and I'll be working on the Illinois Public Library Annual Report, IPLAR, for presentation at our meeting next month. If any of you have participated in any training over the course of the last year for your service as trustees, I'll want to capture that and record that. So please let me know if you've got a number of hours that I should be adding to that report. I don't have anything more to share about the statistics at this point, still in compilation, but I will let you know, obviously, with the presentation of that report next month. What else can I share? We also completed a range of goals and wish list items at the end of the fiscal year, including, as we were talking about, our collections, resources, furnishings, and equipment. So be on the lookout for more updates and improvements as these items arrive. We're preparing for installation and launch of some new furnishings beginning next week. We have some new equipment for the studio, as well as furnishings for our catalog stations and popular services. And we're also going to be introducing a second scan station in the coming weeks to meet the growing demand that we have for that resource. Couple things related to insurance that I want to make sure I share with you as well. Our property and liability insurance pool, LIRA, the Libraries of Illinois Risk Association consortium, held their mid-year meeting in early July. And while our membership is growing, so is the experience with our pool. So there has still been a number of claims, and that is we're anticipating going to keep costs fairly consistent with where they were year over year. But we won't have a clearer picture of that until the fall, until all those numbers are tabulated. But with a number of weather-related events that have created some challenges at some of our area libraries, we're anticipating that the rates are likely not going to be going down. Rates that we know have been going up are our health insurance, and I wanted to share a bit of news from our HR manager, Mike Boone's report. That was in my report as well. Our health insurance pool, the Wellness Insurance Network, WIN, met in June to vote on a proposed merger with Limerick, which is another health insurance network. And the board of WIN voted to approve that merger. So our small pool is going to be joining a larger pool effective January 1. And we believe that this merger is expected to expand the healthcare plan options that we have available to us as members of the consortium, and hopefully will help to reduce our renewal rates for the 2027 plan year. You may recall that WIN was anticipating that our increases were going to be upwards of 15% when we were doing our budget for this year. That was really the major increase in the budget. They're going to be doing more planning at their next board meeting at the end of this month, and we'll have more to share with you at that time. Those are the key highlights that I wanted to pull out. Are there any details or questions that you have for me about operations?
I get a question. How is the engagement with the self-checkouts? I didn't see any. Maybe there were some stats, but I couldn't find them. Are people generally comfortable using them? I find that, I mean, it's very easy, but how are on the broad array of patrons considering them?
Just less than 50% of our circulation is coming off of the self-checkout stations.
Mm-hmm.
I would say engagement is high with them, particularly with our younger audiences. Kids really want to do it themselves, and we have 2 self-checkout stations on the 2nd floor to meet that demand. We did move some of the checkout stations around as part of this project for revitalization, and we're going to continue to track the trending of data on those. As noted in Matthew's report, we have been having some challenges with statistics on a couple of those devices while they're registering the number of checkouts. It's difficult for us to analyze specific use on individual clients at this time. We're working with Biblioteca to try to identify what the root of that is so we can update that. Sidebar related to that, we are updating the operating system on all of those self-checkout stations. They're running Windows 10, and that's not going to be supported later this fall. So they will all be updated here soon, and that may address some of the other issues that we have with them. But I would say by and large, since the introduction of the Biblioteca units, which began in 2020, engagement with the self-checkout has been strong and sustained.
Great. They are really easy to use, and why wait in line if you can just do it real quick?
But we provide awesome customer service at the circulation desk for
Exactly.
those who prefer that personal touch.
And how about the lockers?
The lockers, statistics are also in Matthew's report. That's the second side of his report. If you look for this sheet here, you'll see at the bottom the locker data is on there. And we typically average about 300 checkouts a month on there. And the overwhelming majority of those holds are claimed. Any other questions or comments for operations?
Well, I love the idea of the umbrellas thank you, because I've been to a number of libraries all over the country, actually, in travels, and that I noticed, I love that we still do the bicycle locks.
We do.
did it one
Yeah.
time, great. I appreciate that, bikers appreciate that, and I think the umbrellas will be well appointed. Very good. And I want to thank Friends of the Library also for our summer and winter reading program that seems to be super popular with youth services. And I love the idea of engaging a teenage group to be participating in the program
We've
too.
got a very strong teen volunteer program
That's
this year
brilliant.
assisting us.
It's
Yes.
wonderful. So, really exciting. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything, and as always, your detailed report. We'll now move on to our committee and meetings, ILA, Rails. Trustee Senate, a brief update, anything?
So for Rails, reaching across Illinois library systems, Rails officially turned 15 on July 1st. It was officially formed on July 1st, 2011, as part of a statewide initiative combining 5 predecessor systems into a multi-type regional library system across 27,000 miles, serving 7.9 million people, bringing libraries together, supporting resource sharing, and helping communities thrive. I attended the Rails board meeting on June 18th, and there was a special board meeting on June 30th that was in the form of a strategic planning workshop, as it is time for a new strategic plan. At the board meeting, the Rails Service of the Month was Explore More Illinois. That is shown on our library as museum passes, but it is so much more. I hope everybody has had a chance to look at it and use it and return to it frequently. The people who put it together are constantly getting new organizations to join. There are currently 471 libraries and 78 attractions that are participating in the program. There have been 19,600 reservations made since its launch. In 2025, over 80% of the offers were free or discounted admission, and reservations increased by 32%. So, in addition to museums and attractions such as the Chicago Botanic Gardens, Gilson Beach passes are part of that. One unfortunate thing is you cannot make a reservation through the app. You do have to be on a web-based device, which you can do through your phone. Little tip, if you want to do it through your phone, you just Google Explore More Illinois and then go through the prompts. I think there's a drop-down for the library, and then you type in your library card, and it will show which attractions are available. And there's an ability to make the reservation, to see your existing reservations, and to cancel your reservations. And for those attractions where you only need to download the pass, you can do that too. What you can't obviously do is print. You do need to print out for the beach, I know. Everybody's encouraged to keep looking. If you're looking for something to do, it's great. I mean, there are some, I saw the other day, I had some visitors in, and we were able to go to the beach. It was very hot, so we didn't last that long, but we didn't feel like we had to stay for a really long period of time because we hadn't paid $100 and some for a group of us to go. And the group also was able to go through another library, they were visiting some other people, to the Chicago History Museum. The arrangement there is one adult is free, so
Nice.
it's like $17, so that's a really nice savings, all through having the library card, so that's great. The other thing that was unexpected at the board meeting was the discussion of the Coalition of Libraries to discuss the delayed tax payments. Director Austin had referred to that coalition. Rails also had started a listserv to communicate and share information. And then in terms of the strategic planning workshop, I really don't have much to report. We basically reviewed the survey results. There was a member assessment report and other information, and then there was a lot of discussion of, what kind of words did we like and different things about the vision, and so there'll be a lot more coming up on that. Everybody was in agreement, though, that the line "We Connect Libraries" is very popular, and that it really does go to the essence of what Rails does.
Great, thank you so much. Good. Keep you on the hot seat for anything new from the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee?
So I
Please.
don't have anything. I'm not even sure if it's viable right now.
Okay, maybe the summer break.
It's summer break, and I think my understanding is somebody has to initiate it again.
Okay,
So,
well, you'll keep us posted. Thank you very much.
I'll add a detail
Oh.
about ILA, just very briefly. The ILA Annual Conference
Thank you.
will be October 6th through 8th. It's in Peoria this year. And Trustee Day is October 8th, so if you're interested in going to Peoria, let me know and we'll get you registered.
Great. Thank you. Good. And you did have a number of staff, I believe, went to
ALA.
ALA,
We had
right.
quite a few staff attend ALA.
Excellent. It's a nice opportunity. Wonderful. Our information items, we have a purple folder making it the rounds. Some people have had a number of comments through our suggestion boxes. And you mentioned IPLAR that will be discussed or shared next month. Thank you.
One other informational item I will share is that we have a consolidated election coming up on April 6th of '27, and prospective candidates for that election who want to get on the ballot can begin circulation of their nominating petitions beginning Tuesday, August 26th, and filing of those petitions begins Monday, November 16th, and closes Monday, November 23rd.
Important. Thank you. And any new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? It is now 7:38.
I move that the board adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Trustee DiLorenzo, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Motion carried, and we will now adjourn at 7:38. Thank you.